How fear-based thinking limits faith. Fear-based thinking does something dangerous. It turns God into a backup plan instead of a source. We say we trust Him, but we live like everything depends on us. We hoard instead of sow. We delay joy until things are perfect. We stay in small spaces because they feel predictable. Fear-based thinking says, "What if it doesn't work?" Faith asks, "What if it does? And better than I imagined?" Fear says, "Be careful." Faith says, "Be obedient." And let me be clear, faith doesn't ignore wisdom. But fear disguises itself as wisdom when it wants to stay comfortable. Fear-based thinking keeps us praying safe prayers instead of surrendered ones. And safe prayers never require abundance.